Greetings, this is Mathewos Bunaro from KOICA Ethiopia office. I will be presenting the guideline for manufacturing industry country plan of KOICA Ethiopia office. I will be covering the three topics in this presentation: the rationale for selected focus areas, recommended approaches, and result measurements. In the first case, as basic direction for this country plan program guiding line, manufacturing sector has considered the priorities of KOICA support, including the comparative advantage of Korea government and 10-year prospective plan for manufacturing industry of government of Ethiopia, and the strategies and the policies of manufacturing industry, and the international and continental trade agreements, including the CFTA of Ethiopia and SDGs of manufacturing industry. These are the basic directions we have considered for our country plan in manufacturing sector. And we have gone through the analysis of the current context of manufacturing industry. We have considered the priority areas as the government of Ethiopia has put the basic directions in manufacturing industry, strategy directions. These are agro-processing industry sector, laser industry sector, and textile industry sector. So those three sectors are the basic priority sectors that government has given a great focus for manufacturing industry, and we are also considered these three sectors as priority sectors. And also we have considered the basic plan of government of Ethiopia, that is increasing the GDP share of manufacturing industry from the current 6.8% to 17% by 2030. The other one we have considered is challenge of manufacturing industry sector. We have classified into three parts: the input-related problems, productivity-related problems, and market-related problems. So input-related problems, we have mainly considered the supply of quality raw materials and the supply chain integration both horizontally and vertically. In the productivity side, we have considered low production capacity, especially in the finishing sector, and industry culture which are existing in the industrial parks and also in the other clusters of industries, the R&D status of the country, and shortage of skilled labor in the sector. The market side, we have considered the high market entry barriers for the new destinations and the system in the marketing sector, and limited compliance of international markets that our small and the medium enterprise are facing, including the poor utilization of existing markets, EBA, AGOA, and COMESA. And we have come to design a recommended approach for those problems and the plan of government of Ethiopia in manufacturing sector. We have designed four approaches for this support of KOICA to the manufacturing industry. The first one is related to inputs of manufacturing industry sector. So in the input side, our support will be focusing on raising the productivity of industrial inputs, that is quality of raw materials in the textile sector, that is cotton, and in leather sector, that is raw hides and the skins, and in agro-processing sector, industrial agricultural raw materials. And second and third approaches are based on the production side. The first one is building the capacity of SMEs in regard to their production, their marketing, and their labor. And also building the capacity of frontline ministries to build the foundation of triggering the transformation of manufacturing industry. The fourth approach we have designed is in the market side. We are going to support the promoting e-commerce to strengthen the competitiveness of priority sectors by setting up a platform, online platform to support the marketing side of those SMEs. Regarding the first approach, we have listed sort of components for this approach. The first one we have considered is providing support in the productivity of improvement of locally produced agricultural raw materials. So this component will be focusing only on raw material side or inputs, industrial input side, that is productivity improvement, and also sustainable supply of agricultural raw materials to the manufacturing industry, and also support on post-harvest management since it is related to inputs of manufacturing industry. Support to improve the supply chain system. As I have mentioned, it has a problem in the integration of the horizontal and vertical relationship between the manufacturing industry and the input side. And we are going to focus on harmonizing the supply chain system smooth flow. The second component will be focusing on putting the foundation for the manufacturing industry sector. That is by building the capacity of government institutions and research institutions, TVETs, and also capacity building in human development. So the capacity development of front ministries will be focused in this component, and the soft skill developments in industrial agro parks, and the strategies on industrial culture, because we have identified work ethics is one of the problems that is facing in industrial parks, and benchmarking study tools for experience sharing visits, providing on-job trainings, support on strong linkage between sectoral associations and the research institutions, because sectoral associations are working on policy advocacy and the research institutions are also recommending policy approach to the government. So if they work together, this will have an impact on manufacturing sector development. And finally, we are going to provide technical assistance and infrastructure development for TVET system, as we have identified this as a problem during our analysis. The third component deals with the small, medium, micro, and small enterprise. And we are going to support their capacity, building their capacity by deploying experts, international experts who are professionals in the 3 priority sectors. And also we are going to develop model incubation centers to provide full-fledged support to the priority sectors, textile, leather, and agro-processing sector. And we will going to establish manufacturing line of state-owned enterprise in the form of joint venture. And we'll be focusing on promotion of domestic investment. So this is directly linked to the strategy of government, which is mobilizing the trade sector and the service sector investors to manufacturing industry sector. So this is very important issue. We are going to focus on it. Developing technology transfer systems for the priority sectors that will work in the development of the sector, and provide financial support through credit grants and loans and impact investment programs. And the SMEs especially will focus on small and the medium enterprise, and will be providing technical support to expand market development, since this is also one of the problems of SMEs, and will be promoting the farmers, cooperatives, and private enterprise to the rural transformation centers, because this is the linkage, market linkage between the input side and the manufacturing side. And we'll be developing insurance model for the agricultural firms. So these are the components for the third approach. And the fourth one is for the market side. Especially, we are going to support the electronic part of the marketing system, which is promoting e-commerce to strengthen the competitiveness of the priority sectors by providing technical assistance to establish institutional systems to promote e-commerce for the recognized institutions, and enhancing the transformation of e-commerce. And also we are going to develop IT infrastructures, which is the soft part and also the hard part. And we'll be supporting to enhance digital entrepreneurship and innovation in the sector. So this comprehensive support will enhance or will develop the market side of SMEs and manufacturing sector as well. So my last presentation will be focusing on the result measurements. This will be focused on the type of approach when you develop proposals and proposals for the manufacturing sector support to KOICA. So this will be focusing on the measurements on project outputs and outcomes to integrate overall performance of the manufacturing sector and the support as well. And the projects will be measured based on key indicators. So this has to be mentioned clearly in the results measurements part. And baseline, midline, and inline, these 3 things will be the main things we are going to focus during the evaluation of project proposals. And the outcomes and targets need to be explicit as possible with justifiable quantitative targets that we'll be measuring. So these are the outputs and outcomes listed out in the 4 approaches. So you can clearly focus on each outputs and outcomes during your development of proposal. So if there are any questions and comments and ideas to share with us, you are welcome. Thank you very much.